We have a saying around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no brains, no headache.
Well, hello, boys.
What's up? What's up?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Episode 221, No Brains, No Headache podcast. Happy to be here. Damn glad to do it. Name's Jordan. I'm going to be your host today. As always, with my co-host, confidant, longtime friend, fellow comedian. His name is Matt Cleary. And we have a special guest today, local comedian and entrepreneur, Trevor Hendrickson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's fantastic.
Dude, I did the greatest thing ever on accident at our last show. I was introducing Trevor to people, but I was also like busy doing something. And I think Blaze came up to me and I was like, oh, Blaze, this is Trevor. His parents are dead.
Instantly.
And then I like turned around and started doing something. And I like turned around and I was like, I shouldn't have said that.
I was like, that. I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong. And I was like, that's the most fucked up way to be introduced. I was like, well, you know now.
The mind was racing.
You just get it out of the way early, but we're excited to be here. We're at Patriot Nutrition, Trevor's shop, so we're starting the series of remote interviews with some special guests. So let's get started today. Excited for episode 221. Had a couple soda pops last night, so the energy level is a little volatile today.
Drink that. That'll get it back up.
I have a very special drink. What is this one called?
That's our Carson's tea, and I put some hydration in it just to help rehydrate your body there, Jordan.
It says, Hocus Pocus, I need a power tea to focus. All right, Matt, you want to take over? I'm going to be outside.
So I actually did watch, you did a short interview for the National Day calendar, and I think you said that one was your favorite.
Oh, yeah. That one's got a really, I mean, it kind of goes along with with a little bit of like not the dead parents, but we did that as like
this one's called The Dead Parents. It's my favorite.
I need to come up with that. Maybe we could do that for a Halloween one. This is the Batman tea.
So do you come up with the names, or are those like from Herbalife?
We come up with all the names.
Okay.
This one was, we did a fundraiser for a customer that unfortunately they lost their 3-year-old son.
Oh shit.
And, yeah. And his name was Carson. So that's why it's his tea. And whenever somebody goes like, surprise me, I usually make him a Carson's tea because it just kind of like keeping the memory alive a little bit.
Can we back up a touch? Did you say Herbalife?
Herbalife.
You said
Oh, everybody says it weird. Herbalife.
I mean, I did a lot of research and I watched a 2-minute 50 second video on Trevor. Most of what I know about Trevor has been said already, so this should be real fun.
Is this why I get introduced as his parents are dead?
That's the only fact I know about you.
Is that just, am I going to be in your phone just Trevor, orphan? That's just
Trevor / dead parents.
Well, somebody did call this the Brain Dead podcast the other day.
Brain Dead podcast.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, you're not that far off.
You're close.
But yeah, we're here at the shop. You got a pretty sweet place here, man. Tell us about it. How long have you been here?
I've been here. This December 1st will be our 5th year birthday, so we're kind of starting to plan that of what we're going to do. We'll do a special. We'll have a special tea. Maybe we'll have a No Brains, No Headache tea. I should have done one for the podcast. Now that I think of it. Well,
you still can. There's still time.
All right, there's still time. There's still time.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, this ain't going live, right? Like
no.
Like post it a little later.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see about 5 days in the future because that's when this will come out.
Perfect. So I got 5 days to come up with a tea. I can make this happen.
Just a horrible tasting one. This is toilet water infused.
You just crack a Busch Light and pour it into a cup. It's like, okay.
With no brains, no headache. You just have a flask of vodka that you're dumping into it.
Oh, I have to send everybody over to Captain Jack's, you know?
Yeah.
I get that all the time. Who's like, oh, is there alcohol in this? And I'm like, no, they won't approve my liquor license. Yeah. And I'm just like, Captain Jack, just go get a Mickey. Like, it's fine.
It's right there.
I don't know. Have you ever been in any bar that looks even remotely similar to this?
Or that has the word nutrition in its name.
Yeah. Maybe that's what, that'd be a great, like, yeah, we're opening up a second location. It's just a bar. It's just a bar. It's like if you're hungover, you go to Patriot Nutrition B the night before, and then you come to A the next day.
That would work.
Do you get a lot of people that are like hungover and come and get like?
I actually have a guy from across the street. I only see him on days like after he got completely hammered. He just comes like dragging in. I'm like, whose birthday was it? And like you just see it. He's just like eyes half closed. He's like, what do you got to make me feel like a human again? And I just make him something, put it together. I'm like, here you go. And it's the only time he ever comes in.
I mean, I've always been a big proponent of like taking a vitamin B supplement when I'm hungover.
That would work.
And I don't know if it really works or if it's just like something in my mind that.
I mean, the V is going to give you some energy.
Yeah.
Really is what I find is like hydration stuff.
Yeah.
Getting like your electrolytes back up, which
For
is,
sure.
I did put some of that in yours.
Oh, thank
Get that
you
back
very
up.
much. I definitely need it. Been dragging ass today, so
Should have came in earlier.
I mean, well, I knew I was coming here, and I was gonna get my free tea. At least I hope it is.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
On the way out, you're like, the total is $7, or did you want? Pay that now?
We just leave all of our equipment and run.
That would cover it.
I think that would cover it.
Definitely. At least a mic would.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I think even like adding alcohol to certain drinks, like drinks that are meant to be non-alcoholic, and it's like, let's add vodka. Not always the case.
Not always. I mean, I personally never done it. I've had other like coaches and stuff that I don't like, and we can't legally do it in the club until like we obviously don't. But like what you do at home, whatever. I know people have walked out of here, and we used to, our first business was right by O'Brien's, and I told everyone, I'm like, go over there and go get a shot of tequila, just drop it in. I don't care what you do once you leave that door.
Yeah.
I still don't know if anybody ever did it. I'm just waiting for the day somebody like comes in and just has like a flask and just like looks at me as they're pouring and like just walks away. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you just turn away.
Yep. Yeah.
Out of
Yeah.
sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You'll probably do that tomorrow, won't you?
Probably.
Matt?
Well, we are across the street from a high school, so Matt's actually breaking the law right now. We need to. Matt was out there with the tape measure earlier, pacing it out.
Well, you're talking about that guy who comes in after like a wild night. Like either A, it's a high school student, or B, it's a teacher who's just like, God damn it.
We do get a lot of teachers that come in, and you can tell when they've had a rough day.
Well, you open up at like 6:30?
6:30.
I mean, if I was a teacher and I had to be at school, and I'd stop here. I mean, it's right by where you work, and you don't have to do anything at home.
It's always interesting though too, because like the teachers, like it's interesting. We serve tea, like we serve the energizing tea, but we also there's a lot of tea that's spilt across the bar, and it's fun to hear some of the teacher stories and everything. But they always got to do the like, are there any students in here before I say anything? Like I don't.
I've come to, there's two types of teachers. There's ones that genuinely like kids, and that's about 2%. And then there's 98% of teachers that hate every kid that comes into their classroom.
Yeah, I feel like when I've partied with teachers, they go harder than anyone I know.
You partied with teachers? I don't know if I ever done that yet.
I had a phase there. There was a phase of teachers.
Yeah. There. Well, I found out I ran into one of my old teachers, and it was like he had like U.S. history that he taught, and like every like month or so we'd just start watching Remember the Titans in class. And he finally told me, he's like, yeah, every time we'd watch parts of Remember the Titans, I was so hungover I just didn't want to teach.
It's the Battle of Gettysburg.
That's hilarious.
There's like one scene in the whole movie.
For history, it was Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
It's about like it's been a while since I say it's about football, right?
Well, it's in segregation.
Oh yeah, because it's an older one.
And then they do say the word Gettysburg at least once.
At least once.
Is that based on a true story? Is it one of those
Yes.
movies they just slapped that at the beginning?
No, it is based on a true story.
Like the movie Fargo, they just said based on a true story. It's like, okay, this is
Or
not.
inspired by true events. I love that. And it's like, what events has transpired?
Then you're like trying to like Google it the whole movie, and you're like, all right, what's actually fact and
And
what's
then
made up?
and you find a ton of plot holes where you're like, well, this is ruined now. Mm-hmm. Or those jackasses that like read the book before they go to a movie, and they're like, well, actually, in the book, it's like, well, actually, I don't care.
Yeah, well, actually, we're at the movie, so we can take the book. And
You're supposed to watch the movie, then read the book.
is that how it goes?
That's how it's supposed to. If you don't want it ruined, if you don't want to be pissed off.
I actually read the book Lone Survivor before going to the movie. That was a good one.
I've read the book. I have issues, obviously, with the dead parents.
Yeah.
Of seeing some of those movies, so I'm like, I'm good, but I'll read the book.
So Jordan told me the book was really good. So I said, when Jordan told me that about 10 years ago, I said that I'm not going to see the movie until I read the book. I haven't seen the movie or even tried to read the book. I haven't even like looked up to see how much it costs or if I could get it on my tablet. I'm just like, I'm gonna stick to my word.
Instead, Matt just gets drunk and orders random things. What'd you get in the mail today, Matt?
Miniature bow and arrow.
How miniature are we
Came
talking?
in a padded envelope.
It's like really small and comes with like metal darts. So I think it's either gonna suck or I could blow a hole through like a closet with it.
Or your foot.
Yeah.
Are you gonna like set a miniature apple up somewhere? And like,
I think I should
do
go
a
get
little
some like
intel?
those like little black cherries or something. Just maybe recreate it. I don't know. I really gotta not like have my phone after more than 4 beers, because then it's always like Tuesday or Wednesday comes around and something shows up and I'm just like, oh man.
So like you never remember what you ordered.
I know I buy stuff, but I just like the studio at my house is just littered in stuff that I've bought.
He has a 3 doors down, like, what is that? A little,
Metal poster.
it's like a teeny little metal thing, and it's, haven't hung it up or anything.
No, it's just sits in the
leaning
corner
against the wall.
Yeah, there's and none of it is like remotely useful.
Well, we had the,
Decoration. It's the aesthetic. You're doing it for the aesthetic.
I do it so that I can sell it at Jordan's garage sale like months later.
yeah, Matt's got the fix in the system where he buys things for full price and then sells it at the garage sale, and he thinks he's making a profit.
Yeah, not what you'd call a businessman.
Well, usually you want to buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
It's, a good rule of thumb.
Well, let's rein it back in. What'd you do before you opened?
Like immediately before this, I was a self-serve dog washer. So I managed like a self-serve dog wash. You could bring in your little fluffy dog.
The ones that
and-
have like the sinks and stuff?
Yeah, like we had like full tubs and stuff. It was actually a nice like setup. I was in between jobs before I got it, and it was like I was in Fargo, and the flood was going on, and the owner was doing contract firefighting in Saudi Arabia because it was good money. And his old manager, I can't remember if he walked out on him or quit, and he was back for the flood. And he's all like, and I had a Siberian Husky at the time, and she needed a bath, and he's all like, "Do you need a job?" I'm like, "Actually, I do, because I just got let go from last place I was working at." And so I managed that for about a year, and then he micromanaged me, and I was like, man, I really, really do not being micromanaged, and let alone being micromanaged from like across the world. I was like, oh no. And then when he came back, I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I kind of stumbled across like Herbalife. I walked into one of these nutrition clubs. Somebody presented me to the whole business plan, showed me the system and everything. And I was like, I came home one weekend and I just didn't like it. Realized there wasn't one in Bismarck, Mandan. And I was like, oh, we should open one. But yeah, so you could drop off Fluffy and I'd wash them, or I'd give you the shampoo and the towels and stuff, and you'd wash them and I'd clean up after you. And we had a groomer on staff too. And
Give them the spoon with peanut butter and remind them to not put it on their genitals.
Oh, I was going to say, it's like, here's your jar of peanut butter and towels.
I never,
You can
we
set
never
your pants
used,
in the corner.
we never used peanut butter with any of the dogs, actually. I don't know if the groomers did, because groomers are, if you have a dog and you have a groomer, your groomer is either completely normal, great, fantastic person, or they're just absolutely just crazy. Just like
Sounds about right.
There's no in between. They're either like great, and even the crazy ones, great groomers, just like outside of the grooming, like just.
I was going to say,
crazy.
it's like from
Just out there.
one of it's like, if you're a groomer, it's because you A, love dogs, or B, literally could not find any other job.
I mean, at least you don't have to, or you work bad with people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that, like, yeah, they like animals more than humans, and it's like, well, yeah, because animals don't talk back
'cause
to you.
humans hate you.
But, yeah,
So you're miserable to be around. And the dog doesn't have any choice.
I mean, dogs will bite you. I've been bit once.
I love the transition from Yeah, I managed a self-grooming dog center to I sell nutrition. Mm-hmm. So does a lot of people have that step then?
It's the background of...
I'm sure when you go to these conferences, everyone's background has to be so like bananas.
Oh, you have everything from school teachers to nurses to self-serve dog watchers, a lot of like concrete workers too. You have flight attendants, people that just, of course, a lot of like corporate America. It's just honestly a really great opportunity. And there's a system that, and I didn't realize like actually how interested in nutrition I was, but like it's one of those things that you can control like of what goes into your body, and like, whatever you do is going to have a result. And so that was the one thing that really attracted me. And I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I like to learn a bunch of like new things. And so like I got to learn about like, okay, why is this supplement good for you? Like how is like, like you could die from too much water and stuff. Like just all these different
That's
things.
called drowning.
Yeah. There is a scientific thing. You could actually drink too much water.
What?
Yes, you can consume too much water in a day.
What's too much water?
Yeah, what are we talking?
It's an insane amount though.
Does your body even allow you to get to that point?
Yeah, it's like I think it's like hydro something toxicity, but like it basically is what it does. It basically like dilutes your blood down like too much of your salt level. Is from my like little understanding of it. It's very rare, but
search.
But I think it's got to be like 5+ gallons a day. It's like something's crazy insane.
Do you see those like 5-gallon buckets that girls bring around that have like marks on them, like almost there, you're doing great, and like get down like I got to drink this in a day. And it's like that's more water than I drink in a month.
I didn't know you met my wife.
It's like, yep, got my water bottle, and you have to use like a dolly to carry it around. That's just an old oil can.
I'm every time I go into a place, actually, I have like a big metal water bottle. I mean, you see me. It was the one that I took.
That one's not like overly giant though.
But I mean, it's double vacuum sealed. It's 50 ounces.
Yeah, that's not huge.
But anytime I go into a place and it's like no knives, no guns, no weapons, and I'm like, dude, if I hit somebody with it, like
they're dead.
They're going down.
Yeah. Well, I think once you get to like triple digits in your ounces that you have a water bottle, then it's like, okay.
It gets a pain to carry at times.
Well, my boss goes through like just bottled water, like the 16-ounce ones, like crazy. And then he's like, oh, we need more bottled water. I'm like, we have purified water that comes out of the fridge. Fill up a fucking bottle.
Or just bring a cup.
Yeah, it's like, there's solo cups right there. You were just hemorrhaging our water supply.
Like, that's the stuff for the zombie apocalypse. What are you doing?
It's like, that's why I got a bunch of cans of tomato underneath the sink.
But that is so true of like proper hydration of putting stuff into your body, because it's the myth of, like you guys are saying, you got those big jugs of water, and say you're like drinking coffee and water throughout the day. If anything, you're just dehydrating yourself more because you need the electrolytes to go along with it to make it work. Am I understanding that correctly?
I mean, if you're losing like salts and stuff, and you're like, if you're a heavy sweater, like, or if you're working out a lot, that's really when you do electrolytes. Sometimes you just need just plain water.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, but if all day, you're running to the bathroom like every half hour, aren't you just diluting your own system to like?
You think you're flushing your system out?
Or whatever.
Yeah, you're probably getting rid of if you're going to the bathroom that much and you're drinking and you're starting to take in water. Like, I mean, because if you're not taking in water, you're not going to the bathroom.
Ooh, here's a question. Why, when I drink 40 beers, does...
Why do I wake up with like weird face prints?
Why do I wake up in my neighbor's house? Why does my pee clear if I'm not hydrating?
Yeah, I don't got an answer for the pee clear, but I think it's pretty obvious why you wake up at your neighbor's lawn.
Isn't it a diuretic, or is that the word how you say it?
Isn't that the pills that people take to poop their pants?
No, that's laxatives.
Oh.
Diuretics is where it flushes out water out of your cells.
Oh.
That's why the rule of thumb when you're drinking is to mix in a water, every other.
Yeah.
Because
so every 12 beers, 1 cup of water.
Yeah, Matt has a joke.
I don't think that's the right ratio.
Where he says he's allergic to beer because every time he drinks 25, he pukes.
I have a buddy that he's allergic to tequila. He's like, I break out in handcuffs. And I'm like, that's a bad reaction.
I thought one of my old roommates had he always says he's like, I'm allergic to hard alcohol, and it's like, I just don't think you like it. But then he would literally get like rashes.
You're like,
but he would still drink it. Shout out Preston.
Just like how you call him out.
Yeah, it's your dealer's choice if you want to say names on the podcast.
Ooh.
So do you want to take this time now to slander that company that let you go, which led you to
Oh,
your dog
no,
washing
it's a mom
gig?
and pop shop, and no, I'm good.
Are they nice people, actually?
He was an all right guy.
I want to talk to that guy. How the hell do you get like contracted to be a firefighter in Saudi Arabia? You could just tell people what you're actually doing, muling drugs for the Islams.
You know, I actually don't know what he was, if that's what he was actually doing.
I love to jump to conclusions on people so
I
quick.
couldn't tell. No, I mean, it's a mom and pop shop in Fargo. Yeah, no, we won't do his name.
Gotcha.
Just
Are
in
you
case
are
he's
you
watching.
from Fargo?
No, I'm actually originally from Bismarck.
Okay, so you went school in Fargo then?
No, for college,
Yeah. And then
Because Uncle Sam decided to pay for it, so I was like, I guess I'll go.
Man, you might as well if you get free college and you don't go.
That was actually one of my favorite things. You know, whenever you go to college, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, how are you paying? Like, how are you doing on your student loans? Are your parents paying for you?" And I would just go like, "Oh, I have a tuition waiver," and they're like, "Oh, you lucky son of a bitch!" And like, I was like, "Oh, if they were ever like that," I was like, "Strap in," and I'd wait for him to just wait for. They were like, "Okay, how are you really?" I'm like, "My dad got blown up in Iraq on the side
It's
of the
like,
road."
my dad did pay for it.
and they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're a dick."
Well, that was my whole reaction the first time I saw you do comedy. Because it went from, and then Jim started laughing. And then when Jim starts laughing,
Yeah.
I lose my mind. And then we're both in tears. But I just didn't expect it. When was the first time you did open mic night?
I don't know. Was
Like
it April-ish?
Yeah, I think we went back and looked. It was like March or April or something was the first time. And yeah, it's good to have you. Glad you're part of the crew.
What like gave you the inclination to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go try this?
It's something that I've actually always wanted to do. Like, I'm like, it's probably cliche. Like, I loved Robin Williams, and like after, my dad was killed, the thing that always I always watched the Live on Broadway thing with like a couple buddies, and I found the hidden egg on the Easter thing where it's just all the swear words back to back to back to back, and it's hilarious. And I was like, you know what, I want to brighten people's day. Like Robin could. Maybe I could never be that good, but it's something fun. And I think people tell me I'm funny. And then somebody sent me, one of my customers actually sent me this open mic night thing. I think it was yours.
Yeah.
I think it was the No Brains No Hang. It's like, hey, you should go. And it was like that night. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready. And like, I think I went like a couple weeks later, and
Yeah, I remember you brought a crew with the first time. I love the people that do it the first time, and there's like 12 people. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to go see Trevor do it. And then they never show up again. But that person continues to come.
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's like, oh my, it's always like Thursday. They're like, oh my gosh, like, what'd you do last night? I'm like, open mic night. They're like, oh, is that every Wednesday? And I'm like, I told you. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
like every other Wednesday is at Gideon's. So.
I love telling my family, I'm like, Wednesday night's the only thing. Don't ask me to do anything. It's like literally the only night that I have something going on pretty religiously. What does my family do every Wednesday? Ask me to do something.
They're like, we're having family dinner.
Yeah, would you like to move a piano? First of all, even if I
No.
didn't have anything going on, no.
I already put on my jerk off pants and booked the rest of the day.
You have pants for that?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. You never heard of the jerk off pants?
No, I just shirt cock it.
Oh, Matt's wearing it right now.
Oh, okay. Can we move my mic over?
I'll be in the bathroom.
You can use the employee one in the backpack.
Do you have a plastic bag and a belt? Don't ask.
I don't think I need to.
Yeah, I saw that you had what do you call it? A unisex bathroom. Mm-hmm. Those are always my nightmare, that I'm gonna have like some sort of uncontrollable event that happens, and then you come out of the bathroom and there's just a hot chick ready to go in.
It's a line.
What do we classify as an uncontrollable event?
much.
Okay, I'll give you a story.
And am I
here.
afraid? And am I going to regret asking?
So I went to the Line and Kugel's Brewery in Wisconsin one time.
I love Jordan's already laughing.
I don't know if I've ever told Jordan this, but I'm walking in their gift shop and it's freezing in there because it's like right off where they're like cooling something. And I'm just sweating. I have food poisoning.
Oh, jeez.
And I go into the bathroom. And my friend that was with me at the time said he came into the bathroom and he said it sounded like someone dumping a 5-gallon bucket of water into the toilet.
Oh, my sweet Jesus.
That's what I would go with, an uncontrollable event. It took so much out of me, I fell asleep for 5 hours after.
That's brutal.
Yeah, physically and mentally took so much out of me.
Did you still drink like on the tour for the?
No,
the
I was
brewery?
like 11. So yeah, I got a couple.
Oh, okay.
beers.
Kept it under 10.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
guy's like 13 or something. But
hitting the beers. But yeah, the stand-up comedy scene. What did you think when you first kind of got to meet us or saw it? Like, what was your impression?
I mean, I originally was like, I'm like, wow, these guys drink a lot. I was like, I'm like, and then I'm like, I think I'm older than most of them. I don't know if I can hang. Is originally what I thought.
You're not wrong.
You know,
On both those accounts.
the saving grace about open mic night is it's done at like 10.
Yeah.
And you're not, unless you're some degenerates that are like bar hopping after it, then I never do that.
Did you just raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. I went to 2 bars after open mic night last night.
Last night?
Yeah.
Which bars did you go to?
Went to the Elbow Room and then the Drink. After I
Oh.
told myself I wasn't going to the Drink.
And then you went anyways.
That's how
don't
it
have any
always ends
self-control.
up. You're like, I'm not doing this. And it's like 2 hours later, and that's exactly what you're doing.
But I'm happy with it because I didn't drive. I was responsible.
Good
so I
job.
had a good time, but I did not drive. So
That's like all my friends like they're like, hey, come on drinking. I'm like, fine, I go out, and then I'm like, it's like I leave there. I'm like, I don't want to go to Bucks. I'm not going to Bucks, and always they end up they're like, come on, and I'd like, I'm gonna go with the guys. Like I'm gonna go, and I walk in. I'm like, I hate this place.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy one time we're standing in Bucks. And we're standing like outside. We're not even smoking because we don't smoke. I'm like, I just want the fresh air and get out of there. We're standing out there, and I'm like, do you think like how much of a fight do we got to fake getting into to get like blacklisted? So like these guys, the rest of our friends can't drag us to Bucks anymore.
Bucks is one of the places that, like, if you take a shit on the floor, you'll get like a 2-week ban. I don't think they were doling out lifetime bans.
Oh,
unless
I was just gonna tip the bouncer $20. Like, put me on the I'm
Yeah.
not allowed list, please.
here's a wallet-sized photo of me for the wall, and there's like $100 on top of it.
just don't let me in. Don't let me in.
I think that we should bring back doing like the wallet-sized photos every year.
I thought you were
Like,
going to say smoking indoors.
I think like the 3rd episode of this podcast, I thought we should bring back smoking on airplanes. And I don't say I would do it, but I want to have the option.
I don't know. I feel like you bring up the smoking indoors though. I'm not with the smoking in planes. I don't know why. I'm just not.
I just like the movie Airplane.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's so good.
You have a really selective, like when you reference movies on the podcast and on your stand-up,
Oh,
I'm like,
it's
oh shit, I gotta
terrible.
see that one. The one that keeps coming up, I don't know why, is Battleship, and
Yep.
I've never seen it, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do it.
We know you've been listening because that
Oh,
is
yeah.
spot on.
Yeah, I found out that I've rented Battleship on Amazon over 20 times. And so
buy it.
Buy it.
I finally bought it. And it was on like Netflix for a while, but I was still just renting it on Amazon every time I had a couple 40 beers.
You have the streaming service that you're used to.
Yeah, but then again, like I'm so selective. But I've been watching this new show, but I got caught up, so now it's week to week, and I don't know what to watch. And then so like people have like their safety shows where they just go back to it. But I was like, I want to start something new, and I literally just sat there and went through like all 10 streaming services that I have for like 2 hours. Didn't find anything, and
Then
then
he
I'm like,
ended up popping in a softcore
and that-
porno
yeah.
DVD.
then I just throw on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and 2 minutes later I'm just
That's me with the Hunt for Red October. Like I
That
won't
is
even.
a weird safety movie.
I don't know what it is, but it, like I won't even. The submarine won't even like opening credits go, and I'm gone.
I think back when people had cable, it was always like, I would say about 70% of the time, Shawshank Redemption was playing on FX, and you just turn it on, and it's like, I know I could stream this and not watch the commercials, but I'm already pretty locked in. So
That's the best
solid
movie, though,
movie.
because you can fall asleep and wake up right in time for the good part.
Andy Dufresne,
My friend Andy Dufresne.
not bad. Morgan Wallen, Morgan Freeman. They look so similar.
Yeah, I'll be in the studio playing like Kanye West, and I'm like, "Oh, is this Morgan Wallen's new song?" It's like, no, it is not. But sure.
Or one time he had a Jelly Roll song on, and I walked in, and it was a music video. I'm like, wow, Morgan Wallen really let himself go.
Yeah, more like smelly holy cripes. That guy. He needs a few teas. You know what I mean? He needs to be on your wall over there.
I could get a few celebrities on the wall. I'd be all right at that.
Do you think though his identity is being a large man, that if he were to lose the weight, it wouldn't be the same?
I don't follow him that much. But I think if your name's Jelly Roll and if you're skinny, I'm
How
like,
did we come up
you
with
need to
that?
change your name. It's got to be like Skinny Pancake or something. Man, I'm like,
I love when people's names like his name's Skinny P and he's 400 pounds. Or it's like, yeah, his name's Heavy D. He weighs 40 pounds.
he's like 4'11".
Yeah.
On Wayne's World 2, Handsome Dan or whatever on the radio station. It's just the ugly radio host who's just a greasy guy. So it's always backwards. Where were we? Comedy, smoking indoors. What were we
no,
discussing?
you're just asking me what I first thought of you guys. I will say I remember like Jim had a really, really long set the very first time that I went to open mic day. And I remember you visibly like just going, bro, you got to get off. And it was my first
Yeah.
impression of Jim. And I will tell you the second impression was much better.
Okay. Good. Well, that's just it with the comedy scene, the local community here. It's people sometimes like are always, oh, you need to have a time limit. I'm like, I'm just happy that people are here. If they want to go for 20 minutes and embarrass themselves on stage for that long, that's their prerogative.
Because there was like a year ago where like we'd show up and it'd be like 3 of us. And then
Yeah.
a 4th would show up and be like, we gotta fill time. So
July of 2023, Matt and I were at an open mic. I was running it. So Matt and I showed up. Cole thankfully showed up. 'Cause I thought he was going to be gone, but he didn't. His flight was the next day. So Cole was there. I had a guest there. It was the bartender, the owner of the joint, and then I think like 2 people at the bar who happened to be there. They were not there for open mic. And it was middle of July, so it's like beautiful weather out. And nobody showed up. But it goes to show that we've grown a lot, because even this summer, I feel like we stayed strong through the whole summer. So.
Yeah,
Being
summer crowd is way different than even like, I don't know what fall crowd like.
it's
already
starting to
noticed a
ramp
big
up, and I
difference.
think like this is kind of like the pinnacle of if we can ride this out for the rest of it would be sweet. And I think being consistent, like every Wednesday when we were doing it, when it'd be like, well, it's every other Wednesday, and then on the 3rd Wednesday of the month, it's gonna be here. Now it's like, okay, it's gonna be every Wednesday. If you go to the wrong place, the other place is 4 feet away.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to mess up now.
Yeah, but we paved the path for you, man. Matt and I were hitting up random open mics, and they were awkward. I mean, they're good to work on your stuff, but man, we had some tough open mics before it really got rolling.
And
Like just empty bar or like
Well,
what
one
made it
was
tough?
in a very weird basement setting, and it was Matt, Jim, and myself, and then a lady came to play piano,
and the owner.
and the owner.
And Jim, Jordan, and myself all like had heard each other's jokes.
Yes.
And so, and then we were just kind of like sitting there staring at the person, and then randomly you just get the owner standing in the way back, just go, ha! You're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. We went over to a place over in Mandan that one time.
And you had a music stand.
Yeah, they had a music stand, and then the
Like
speaker.
you just had it in front of you, just like
Yeah.
a podium.
Well, and the speaker was rattling the wall so much that a painting fell down in the middle of somebody's set.
we also went over there and asked, we're like, hey, are you doing open mic night? She's like, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and I had to go set up the sound myself.
They were like, who's hosting it? They're like, what?
You?
No one.
Yeah, I think I ended up hosting
Yeah,
it.
literally, it was like, well, we can figure this out.
Well, and then I had a joke about like the Fighting Sioux UND, that whole debacle, and some lady at the bar is just heckling me. And she's like, do you even deserve to be calling them the Sioux? And I'm like, bitch, I paid $40,000. I can call them whatever the fuck I want. So yeah. Also, my college was free. It's called just not paying off.
Everything's free if you steal it.
You're just like, eventually, like, that might go away,
They
right?
keep sending
Like,
me emails. It's like, no, I know, like, that you guys need money from me. Are you gonna get it? Probably not. I'm waiting until I get grandfathered into jail.
Just send them a ticket to an open mic night. Be like, here, this should prove that I have no money.
Jordan becomes a huge Democrat just until they forgive his student loans, and then just
Then right back.
yeah, just. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, I could use the 750, hurricane relief money, or I could use some of the billions of dollars we are sending to other countries while people in Florida are just getting doused by a hurricane.
Did you see that the Tampa Bay Rays stadium roof just is not there anymore?
And it was like one of their staging areas
Oh yeah,
for like
it's like this is
relief
our
center.
safe space where we could bring people, and then
Roof is gone.
the next day they like wake up sleeping on their cot and they just look up and there's nothing there.
Do you see the stars?
Yeah. That's so wild.
Or the guy that they call him, he's the real life Lieutenant Dan.
I haven't seen this, but I need to now.
But he lives on this tiny sailboat and he just refused to leave. And so
Does
he
it
was
got legs though.
he does have legs, but they call him Lieutenant Dan, and his sailboat, he wasn't like sailing it or steering it at all. He was just like letting it slam into buildings and stuff. And like there was a video of him, and he's like in between two buildings because the tide's up so much, and it's like on concrete. And these guys are videoing like, Lieutenant Dan, you in there? And he just pokes his head out, and he's like,
He's probably smoking a cigarette. They're like, I'm
and
fine.
and then like after this huge like surge came through, like the next day they're looking for him, and they just found him hanging out, just nothing wrong. It's like, or the guy that's he's sitting in his living room in a kayak in like 6 feet of water. He's just refusing to leave.
Sorry, I had to check my fantasy football lineup. If you guys got it, game's about to start. So just
I am
heads up.
decimated by buys this week.
And I am lost. I'm not a sports guy. Like, I've never done a fantasy
I'm
football
shocked.
or anything. Are you really?
I could have told you that.
Nerd.
yeah, I did the little bit.
I eat pieces of shit
I
like
mean-
you for breakfast.
When we met here at the
Pieces of
shop
shit for breakfast.
when you rolled up in your goddamn Jeep with the hard top off, I'm like, oh my God, is this who we're really interviewing? Who set this up? And it's like, damn it, that was me.
you didn't know I drive a Jeep?
Well,
Well,
I,
what
I
year-
do now,
what
and my
year is
respect
yours?
has dropped a touch.
Oh,
What year is yours?
It's an 09.
Okay, perfect. Anything after 2012 looks like the Jeep trucks.
So stupid.
It's like, sweet, I'm going to go to my job, take doors off my car, and then it's like, why?
Or those, we were at open mic standing outside when that one Jeep truck drove by, and it had the cargo strapped to the side, like the water jug or whatever. And then one was the backboard stretcher thing. And I'm like, are you just saving lives somewhere, or what's going on?
I actually know who owns that Jeep, and it's some of the guys that own a lot of like rental property that's right across the street from where we do
punch
open
him
mic
in the
night.
dick for me the next time you see him.
Yeah.
I don't know him that well. It would just be random. He wouldn't even know me.
It's probably best if you don't know these people.
Oh, I do know him well.
I just see. We made him angry.
Has the goddamn gall to call his house on a Tuesday night? Ah, damn it!
That's literally me every time I get a phone call at work.
My wife got a call at like 9 o'clock from her aunt the other day, and she was like, "Who the fuck is calling me this late?" And then she's immediately like, "It's aunt she doesn't talk to that often."
Hello.
She's like, "How the fuck did you get this number?"
We had a guest on, Dave, the All-American, and he was like in some town in Minnesota, and they broke down, but it happened to be like near his uncle's place. And so he calls his uncle and he's like explaining the whole situation. And after this long, thorough explanation, his uncle just goes, "Who is this?" He's like, your nephew? Can I have a ride?
And then his uncle's like, "I'm busy now, but I'll call you back in a bit."
Like 3 hours later.
I think it was the middle of the winter. They broke down.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is starting to turn into a survival situation. A little bit of urgency goes so far away.
And Dave does not have a lot of meat on his bones. He will wither away.
Yeah. He is not made to last in the tundra. So that's always great. But the old Jeep started making noises.
Yeah, just like on the way here, turned a corner and I heard what I'm assuming was a belt squeal, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
I'm assuming what is a broken axle.
Yeah. Assuming is a
don't drive that
raccoon
crazy.
stuck in the radiator.
Ooh. Just clinging to it.
You ever seen the show Rust Valley Restores?
Nah.
I didn't expect you to, but it's the most
I
ridiculous
think
show
Jordan and
ever.
I might be the only 2 people in America. It's a big Canadian show.
Oh, huge in Canada.
Oh, dude, Canada TV is awesome, actually.
Oh, there's one, if you have Hulu, watch. It's called like Salvage Bros or something. Salvage Kings.
Salvage Bros.
Salvage Kings.
Salvage Kings. Okay.
And it's about this guy, like they're near Toronto, and he goes into buildings that they're going to tear down, and he like takes stuff out of it and sells it. And
Oh,
it's
that actually
sweet.
sounds kinda cool.
It's cool, like the stuff they leave behind. Like they were going to tear down this hotel, and they literally left everything in it. So they had to. It was like in downtown Toronto, and they have like semi trucks of like beds and dressers all going out. Like it's kind of cool stuff you see. Or like they had an old Zamboni door that he's like, "This is $12,000," and I'm like, "That's like $4, and it's for scrap."
Somebody will still pay for it, though.
Yeah, Matt and I both have driven Zambonis. We're both certified Zamboni drivers.
Seriously.
There's
I don't know if we're certified.
Yeah, there's no
but-
certification. It's like,
Is it hard to drive one? My wife always wants to.
it's not very easy, or not very hard.
Yeah, I mean, if you
The only rule was like, don't be drunk, and I broke that one a lot.
yeah, like if you
a lot.
if you crash into the
possible.
glass, that they're probably going to drug test you, and you're more than likely going to fail. So just try not to do that.
There was a guy in Fargo that got a DUI during a high school girls hockey game on a Zamboni.
Dude, when I lived in Grand Forks, I worked at the hockey rink.
Can you imagine the cop filling out that report?
Yeah, it's like, do we have any guys that have like been in Canada or something that can do this? And the fact that he got like a parent call them in for being, I'm like, I was terrible at driving a Zamboni.
Yeah.
And I never got called in. So this guy must have like ran
Just
over a
all
child.
over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in college, I worked at a hockey rink. Never played hockey in my life. Can barely skate. But I was like, oh, it's a good gig. So I got it. And then at UND, I was with a bunch of Minnesota guys, hockey bros. And so a lot of nights, they would just have their buddies come and like play a pickup game late at night. And they're like, you can go. We'll like take care of it. I'm like, sweet. Hell yeah. I'm out of here. But then one night they did it, and I came back the next day, and they're like, dude, you should have been here, man. We were smoking the bong on the Zamboni. I'm like, why do you can't you smoke the bong before or after the Zamboni? What's the thrill of doing it while driving? Like, I don't understand. The kids these days and their goddamn marijuana.
Well, the kids these days ain't gonna smoke a bong. They're just gonna hit some wax pen.
That's true.
You know, smoke a little grass or drink a little Ripple.
I was actually talking to this one guy, and I was like, oh yeah, I get all my like fake sports jerseys off this app called DHgate. And he's like, oh, it's where I buy my bongs. I was like, so this app caters exclusively to people that want to not pay full price for sports jerseys and potheads.
Drug paraphernalia.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're doing Sober October. We're recording on October 10th. How's it going?
Good.
Like fully sober, not a California sober, entirely sober.
So far, yeah. Every now and then I see a beer and I'm like, do I want that? No, I'm good.
You can allow yourself to have an NA if you want to.
I am not a fan of NA because the beers I like sour beers. So like they don't really make sour NAs.
No, they don't.
So I'll just drink some grapefruit juice and call it good.
Oh, I love just going to the brewery and having a bunch of sours and then just sitting on the toilet the whole next morning. It's awesome.
It affects everybody differently though. It doesn't bug me.
Well, it's pretty consistent for me.
You have a pattern.
For like the 3.5 weeks that I pretended to like IPAs right out of college. Was like the 3.5 weeks that I just had dysentery Gary the entire time.
I remember I was a quote unquote kind of good boy. What a shocker, right? So I really didn't drink until like 3 months before my 21st birthday.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if you're almost there and you're like, you know what, fuck it.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like,
I got 5 minors.
5.
Yeah.
If Jordan was a
middle.
shop, if he was a shop teacher and accidentally sawed off a finger, he would need 2 hands to count his minors.
I mean, it's a
Still got some
shocker.
toes.
Once I turned 21, I quit getting in trouble. It's like, well,
Weird.
you know, what can you do? Kids out there, don't drink underage. It's not good. Not good for the brain development. No brains, no headache. There's a reason, all right?
Yeah.
You understand?
Is that how it started? It was just the 5 minors? That's
Well, Matt and I, when we were coming up for the name of the show, it was like middle of COVID, and we're like, oh, let's do what everybody else is doing. Be douchebags and start a podcast. And we were really good at that. So we did, and we were sitting down brainstorming the names, and I wish we had the other ones. I can't remember. We had like,
You started naming off.
okay, I was going to get to that. We were running out of names. The brainstorming session was kind of winding down, and I'm like looking around Matt's place. I'm like, how about the Lysol Couch podcast?
That was a close number
the
2.
two bored
Yeah.
guys during COVID.
Yeah.
And we started. This was a sports podcast when it started.
Oh, really?
There were no sports on at all.
Oh, yeah, I heard that on one of the earlier podcasts. All right, did you do any episodes before you had the name? Or did you get the name and then...
Well, we used to have a show. This is actually our second podcast. Our first one was called Blurred Vision Sports Talk.
And this was a good one. We got as drunk as we possibly could and then
course.
just screamed at each other in an open room.
Yeah, we had one microphone sitting around. We even had guests on, so there'd be like 3 of us talking into this microphone. Had no editing skills. We uploaded it to SoundCloud. And then I was just back for the summer from college. So then at the end of the summer, I was like, oh, we're done.
Yeah.
But it's pretty popular, I guess.
11 episodes. Went
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny now that like we started and we've been going for so long that like the amount of people we've known that have started podcasts and have just immediately flamed out, or they're like, we're taking a break. And it's like, that was
Forever.
yeah, that was 2 years ago. I quit my job to podcast full time. Okay.
I've heard of worse ideas.
Yeah.
And we're on episode, what, 221?
This is 221.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pretty wild.
I remember when you hit 200. That's quite a feat for a podcast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Flies. Like time flies. Like you're like, holy shit, we're up to this many. Because it's like I still remember like episode 52. We had like Todd McComas come on, and it's like,
Yeah, we had some really good guests early on, and we were like shocked they were saying yes to come on our podcast because we were still building it up, getting that credibility, trying to figure out what in the hell we're doing. But yeah, we had some really good guests,
there's some people that like, and I'm gonna say,
including yourself.
It was 100% not because of our podcast, but now they have like hundreds of thousands of followers now, and like I'm like, yeah, back then you had 5,000 Instagram followers, and I DM'd you, and now you're like featuring and headlining in New York.
Now you're interviewing Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dang.
Yeah, the one guy we had on, and then like the next week he had his own. She was Sean Latham, and he was interviewing Gabriel Iglesias.
Sweet.
Yeah. Or once we had an NFL player on, Brandon Zylstra, great guy. He played for my Vikings, Matt's Panthers, so it was like perfect.
Solid.
He was-
You're a Panthers fan?
Yeah, he was in a Jiffy Lube parking lot.
On his phone in the car, and his phone started overheating because it was like doing so much. The next day, what did he go on a Good Morning Football or something?
Yeah, with Rich Eisen.
And yeah, he was like in a suit and like had a nice backdrop and a good audio. Like it was like, okay, I see where we stand.
Yeah.
I was just happy he came on, but
Did
yeah,
you just reach out to him and he said, yeah, sure, what the hell?
I reached out. Actually, that was a good pull on my part. I reached out to his agent or his agency or whatever, the representation, and the lady was like, yeah, he'd love to come on. I'm like, perfect, let's do it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. This is actually my first ever guest on a podcast.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Which is weird because back then we didn't have like nearly like the followers we had. So we had like no like I was gonna say like representation, or like they're like, oh, if you look at them, you're like, oh, they have like
a resume just blank.
61 followers on TikTok. Yeah, this will be a real good one for you to do. But now we have that and we don't do it. So maybe we have to get back to that, is what I'm saying.
Well, like Matt said, it's tough. It flies by because
Yeah.
literally I do feel bad, like sometimes for our guests when they come on, because it's like, thank you so much for your time. But honestly, the moment it's over, we're already on to the next one.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would love to stay in touch and chat, but I really can't because it's like I'm on to the next one. Thankfully for you, you'll see us every week.
You're going to see me Wednesday.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And we'll have to come into Patriot Nutrition, get our delicious drinks and shakes, meal replacements, all the good things.
on October 24th, you know what that is.
CAD.
Yep, Customer Appreciation Day. Good job, Jordan.
Yeah, right?
You pay attention.
Yeah, it was awesome in here. The day I came in for customer appreciation, Matt, he had the, what do you call them? The little balloon popper.
Oh, yeah, the
things.
confetti poppers.
Yeah.
Oh, those things, they're my favorite part of my day.
Yeah. Which
I-
I'm surprised you're okay with like bangs like that and stuff.
Well, I mean,
considering
I
your
didn't
history.
hear it. My dad
Oh.
probably wouldn't be, though. He's only here in spirit. He doesn't voice a complaint too
Just
much.
have someone firing off an artillery shell firework in the corner.
Well, I mean, they're like the 12-inch ones, and so it's a
geez.
legit firework. I was shocked. We actually ordered some from Walmart,
Matt,
and
look at
yeah,
the
they're stuck in
ceiling.
the ceiling.
Oh, I don't do well with loud noises or like sudden things, so I would not know.
Oh, okay. I'll try and remember that when you come in on a customer
You can
appreciation
walk
day.
up behind me and like touch my shoulder, and I'll be like, "Oh my god!"
Matt would be like, I came here because I'm constipated, but
You had a
took
rough
care of
childhood,
that.
didn't
I was
you?
gonna say, I just not really. I had pretty little bit. I pooped my pants a lot, but so this guy I worked with at the golf course. Shout out Derek. He's a dentist now. And
Wow, I'm glad to see you guys are both doing well in your.
oh, it's so funny. The group that I worked with at the golf course, there's like 6 doctors, 3 dentists, 2 attorneys, and me.
And a shitty comedian.
And they were just pumping them out. Like one guy, I was still working there, and he had made it through medical school and was like practicing in Bismarck. But Derek was on this health kick, and he kept drinking these meal replacement shakes, but also eating meals, and just got fucking humongous. Like over a summer, I think he gained like 75 pounds.
Oh, wait, so it wasn't like our program is usually meal replacement shake, eat dinner.
Yeah.
It's like typical. But he was like doing meal replacement shake, eating breakfast, meal replacement shake, eating
Yes.
lunch, meal replacement
Did he
shake, eating
forget the
dinner.
replacement part? Like,
He would be like, I'm gonna hog down these 2 muscle milks, and then we should order Applebee's.
But like, was he underweight?
We called him Slim Jim because he was, but he wasn't like
a guy named Derek named
grossly,
Slim Jim?
grossly skinny. And he was the guy that got me the job at the golf course, and I thought he was like the best golfer ever, and turns out he just sucked.
Can we go back for a second? Your teacher that always did the Remember the Titans, is that the same teacher with the arm
With the arm?
that broke his arm?
Oh no, that was a flag
So
football
you saved his
coach.
life? Okay.
Yeah. I think that story might be stretched out a little bit.
Oh, just a
but-
little?
Yeah.
It's just for the joke. Don't worry. I got it.
Yeah.
We all got to do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
This joke is inspired by true events.
yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's a lot of mine.
You gotta Google what's real, what's not.
I'm trying to think of like, I don't think I have any jokes that aren't loosely based on true stories. Or some of them are just straight up true stories that like shouldn't be true stories. Like, you probably shouldn't have done that, Matt. It's like, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
like that time I gave Wheelchair Kid our buddy's phone number because I didn't want to give him mine, and then he kept calling him. He was out in Montana in college, and he called me one day. He's like, dude, did you give my fucking number to some guy? And I was like, no. Yeah.
It's the only one I had memorized. That's what I thought. I thought about a joke premise that's like kids that get arrested nowadays and they have no numbers memorized, so they just have to spend days in jail until their family figures out where they're at.
Yeah, or call J.G. Wentworth. The option's yours.
I need my money now.
Or Cashman Nursery. It's like,
I have a feeling nowadays they just hand the kids the phone. They're like, here, we know you need this. Don't look at porn. Just call your mom.
yeah. Immediately pulls up porn up. But I think I've talked about this before, but what's Elon Musk's Wi-Fi thing? It's like Starlink or something.
Starlink,
Yeah,
yeah.
Starlink.
So he gave everyone in like the Amazon rainforest, like uncontacted tribes, like tablets in the internet, and within 6 months, half of the tribe was addicted to porn.
Whoops, what can you do? It's human nature. How do we get here today? A little slap and pickle. You know what I'm saying?
Slap and pickle. I don't know if I've heard that phrase before.
Oh, just slap and tickle. But when you're drunk, you want to go to that place for some slap and pickle?
You're just talking to a poster.
Yeah. They're like, put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. They're like, so is that over?
So we're not going to see your place, huh?
You're talking to like an Arby's drive-through speaker.
It's always got to be about Arby's.
You want to get out of here?
Yeah, but with what I've learned with comedy is you can throw Arby's in any joke and it makes it 10 times better.
Arby's is the funniest fast food restaurant.
It's so funny.
It wouldn't hit very well if I was like, so I was at Burger King with my pants off.
Yeah.
If I was at Arby's with my pants off.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Yeah.
Were you trying to prove to him that you had the meats?
No, I was just banging a roast beef sandwich.
Just plain roast beef or beef and cheddar?
Beef and cheddar.
Yeah,
but you got to let it cool down.
Yeah.
Learn that one the hard way.
Yeah. 3rd-degree burns on my dong.
Well, so my favorite, our favorite baseball team, the Cubs, one of their star pitchers put out his Ring doorbell video of he got a bunch of coffees and he gets home and he gets out of his truck and spills all the hot coffee right onto his balls. And you can hear him plain as day. He just goes, fuck!
You think you get a lawsuit out of that one, like the McDonald's lawsuit? That lady pouring the hot coffee on herself.
Have you ever looked that up?
I just kind of remember
Didn't
hearing
she
about
have
it.
like actual like burns?
Yep. She had to have reconstructive surgery. So their machine was broken. They knew about it. And if you look up the lawsuit, like they were just asking, and she couldn't work, I think, for like 2 years. I looked this up a little while ago. She couldn't work for like a year or like 2 years or something. She was like 84, 86. And she had to have reconstructive surgery. And like the amount that they kept like settling, McDonald's was like, nah, we ain't paying. And then they and all they wanted was basically like enough to cover her surgery. And I think like a couple of months that she like couldn't work. At first,
she's 84. Why the fuck are you working in the
and
first
like
place?
the amount, and then even what they finally settled on, they ended up like the jury or like the group like allotted her like a sizable amount of money, like triple digits, then a comma.
Yeah,
and then like even the judge was like, no, that's too much money. And like I looked it up of like sales at that time was like right around where they hit like $1 billion servers. Like they had the money.
Yeah.
Every place that has the money, they just want to pay as little as possible. Like the classic, right around I think the same time was the lady at Wendy's finding a human thumb in her chili.
Okay, that's a legit story.
It was, but it turns out it was like her husband's finger that he like had cut off.
Murdered him. So.
That he like cut off, and she put it in the chili to try to get the money. But then they're like, it didn't take a real long like.
It's a pretty easy one. All your cooks go like this, and they all have their thumbs. They're like, not ours.
I tried this one chili and it set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
Oh, dude, I had some loaded chili the other day. Dude, I'm actually gonna make some loaded chili this weekend.
I'm actually gonna post the loaded chili clip on our Instagram after that. So check us out on Instagram, nobrains_no_headache, or you can find us on all other social media platforms.
Shameless plug. I love it.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok.
So how do you feel about, been doing comedy for what, like give or take 6 months now? How are you feeling about it? What do you see in the future for yourself?
I mean, eventually I'd really like to be part of a show. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. I gotta get to a point of like memorizing my jokes, which I got some down.
Yeah.
I feel I do. I feel pretty good. Like some people have laughed. I've learned a lot of, especially if you're going to go with like the dead dad jokes or the dead mom jokes.
Those are my favorite.
Really? I couldn't tell, man.
I think everybody in the crowd loves those.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I feel like they flop so hard because people are like, I want to laugh, but like I can't.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, but that's what makes comedy.
But then it also depends on the crowd too, because you could tell one joke one day and it just falls flat. You tell it the exact same way the next day and it'll hit.
for sure.
But I found like the more I work on like the setup, like I know your favorite joke is my headstone joke with my dad. Like if that one hits, I know like the differences between the IUD and IED are going to be a little better. God, I hope my grandma doesn't see this. Yeah. She's going to be like, "You joke about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm like,
good grandma impression.
It's my trauma. It's my trauma."
Hey, Grandma, have you ever heard of a podcast? No, never mind.
And good. I'm going to go actually block podcast on your computer.
Yes. Can I see your computer? You just throw it out the window. I'll buy you a new one in 3 weeks.
Dude, my grandpa wanted me to like literally whatever. He's not around anymore. But whenever something would go wrong with the computer, Grandma would have me come over. I sit down, and Grandpa's like, "Just throw it away." And he like his chair was right next to where she had the computer.
Turns out you need to charge it.
And I just looked at him. I'm like, she's gonna keep calling me if I do, Grandpa. Like she's gonna make me fix it again.
Those sons of bitches.
My grandma did this awesome thing she had like a desktop computer, and she stole her neighbor's Wi-Fi, so she had to have it at a certain side of her house, and that was the only place that you could get internet in her house.
That's the way to go.
And it was super slow too, but she's like, "I got internet." It's like, you're clearly stealing it from your neighbors.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you connect to my Wi-Fi and not the school's? Because I don't want them to pop up on.
I just turned my phone on Do Not Disturb so that they can't track me. My PO doesn't like when I get too close to a school. I'm like, I'm just driving by.
So they're like, who in the hell was looking up lesbian chat rooms last night at about 7?
Yeah. God, if my Google searches got leaked, it would be the weirdest thing ever. I was trying to find like this Indian version of Kill Tony that I accidentally stumbled upon, and my Google searches were like Indian comedy kind of hot chick. I want to take it to the car wash. Which I found it super funny, but they would start out talking in English, but then they would switch to jib jab, and I was like,
We got a big day out there. Big one. We've got a full moon. People are going to be amped.
Jib jab.
And then they had one black guy on the panel who didn't speak any of the other language, and he would just sit there and laugh. And I was like, I could be that guy because I find this hilarious. I'll show you after.
Okay, sounds good.
What else? Trevor is our guest today.
Jordan.
So good for you to have us. Matt, put the duck down, please.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
I was a big X-Men fan.
I saw that they added that to Disney, and I was going to watch it, but then I remembered I've never seen any of the other ones.
There's like new episodes, and it's still like it's labeled as like X-Men like 97.
97, yeah.
Which is I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of it, and I don't know. It's kind of like Marvel. It's like this is the new timeline, and I'm like, God, could we just like? I'm a little sick.
Isn't
of
everyone dead by now? I was a big Legends of the Hidden Temple guy growing up.
Was that the one where they race around?
Yeah, and
they had a. It was 3 parts of the statue. Why could they never put it together in a timely manner?
And then they just had like pedophiles tackling these kids when they're running around in a maze.
I watched a lot of what was it?
Guts.
No, was it was it Gladiator?
American Gladiators?
Yeah, where they had like the giant Nerf guns.
Yeah, that was a good
those
show.
things had to hurt. It's like, here's a potato cannon. Mm-hmm. Legends of the Hidden Temple, the best part about it was they had the worst prizes. It's like, you could have spent a week on a ranch in Maine. It's like
in January.
Yay. Be like, here is a Nintendo. Nothing else is included with it, so you have to buy everything.
Yeah. No cables, no
no
controller,
power cord, nothing. It's just the console.
It's like you get a free pass to an amusement park nowhere near your home.
And you don't get airfare.
No, it would be the absolute worst prizes, and it's like, what are these kids doing here?
We will pay for your round trip flight. It leaves from Shanghai, so you have to get there first.
How we connect through Vietnam. You notice some things when you watch like old cartoons. Like I watched a little bit of Hey Arnold the other day, and Hey Arnold's
that guy.
Hey Arnold's hat is smaller than his eyes.
I can't watch those old cartoons, man. I don't know. It's just weird now.
Oh, No, I take this back. My favorite was Ren and Stimpy, but I had to get permission from my parents to watch it.
See, I that was probably one that I couldn't watch because I didn't watch anything. I was probably on Cartoon Network, and I didn't watch any of that shit.
We're also, I feel like, a few years apart.
How old are you? You're either 28 or 48.
There's no in between.
I'm actually in between. I've just turned 39.
Holy shit! I would say I thought you were like 2 or 3 years older than me.
All right, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Because most people think like I am. I ask some people, like high school kids that come in here, and they're like, comes up, and they're like, how old do you think I am? They're like, 48. And I'm like, I'm going to go jump off a bridge now.
Well, sometimes you just can't tell with people at all. I feel like everyone guesses my age pretty spot on every time. Like, I never get like...
And your heritage.
Yeah.
They know exactly what you are.
Yeah, an alcoholic. No, you're Irish. They're the same.
It's the same.
Yes.
It's synonymous.
Catholic Irish. Just a double down. Double
Well,
whammy.
I used to have a joke that I would say, it just flopped every 4 times I said it, but it was like, I'm Irish Catholic. The difference between Irish Catholic and normal Catholics is they go to church and I don't.
I think Matt and I went to enough church as kids. We went to a private institution.
So I went to church like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah. For years. That's so much church. And I'm just riddled with Catholic guilt.
Riddled with it.
Yeah.
That is one thing, like, I've gone to church with my grandparents and my wife's grandparents, and like it's always like the Catholics that are like, through my fault, through my grievous fault, and I'm like, why are you guys beating yourself up all the time? Like, geez,
The guy's already nailed to a board over there.
Maybe that's why you're all alcoholics, because you just got to drown your sorrows.
What if Jesus was just a really good magician?
Well, and it's the funniest thing because they're just like the biggest hypocrites. You'd have like the devout Catholics, and then on the weekends they just drink a whole bottle of whiskey, and it's just like, okay,
Everything in moderation. It's like,
yeah, except for getting blackout drunk. Or the people who have like 14 kids are like, wow, they're good Catholics. They don't even live on a farm or anything.
And they're also just poor.
I always like when you see those shows like what is it, like 9 and Counting or whatever, they have all the kids. I'm like, what do they do?
Dude, I am the biggest fan of TLC shows.
Was it 19 Kids and Counting?
Yes.
God, just a hallway.
So the oldest one's a pedophile, and I was like, well, statistically speaking, if you have 19 of them,
one of them's
you're doing pretty good. If only one of them is
just one.
And they also named all their kid J names. At some point, you run out of good J names.
Yep.
And as a J name myself, I don't appreciate that very much. You know, I'm trying to represent the J's.
19 Kids and Counting comes up usually about once every 6 months on the podcast. The last time was...
It's either that or 1,000 Pound Sisters.
Yep.
I've never seen it, but I've heard you talk about it.
Don't watch
I'm
it.
like, no, don't.
If you ever want to not eat for like a week, watch My 600-Pound Life, because they always set up episodes where they like, all right, you just got to go get your like shame meal and we'll video that. And the guy will go to like McDonald's and it'll be like, I'll have the entire menu and a Diet Coke.
Why always the Diet Coke? Like that's going to counteract. I'm like, just get the regular Coke. It tastes better anyways.
Yeah, it's the Diet Coke's really gonna, bring you back to life.
Well, I haven't been able to finish the movie The Whale with Brendan Fraser. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. But it is in my recent. Actually, it's still opened on a tab on my Google search because of this podcast. Because somebody mentioned it, and I'm like, I need to look this up because I think it was the one with Cole on it where you mentioned it, talk about it.
Opening scene, gay masturbation.
Yeah, and I haven't like.
I gotta watch this movie tonight then.
Well, I like to snack a little bit, have a little food while I'm watching my movies, entertainment. Can't with that one. Appetite gone.
Have you ever
horniness gone?
Have you ever tried eating bugles during a movie and you just can't hear anything because the crunch is so loud?
That's why I turn on closed captions so I can actually like understand what's going on.
I had to turn my TV up so loud I blew the speaker in the back. Now I
blew out your back porch, if you know what I mean.
I prolapsed my own anus watching The Whale.
Okay, so have you seen The Whale?
No, I gotta read the book.
you have?
I gotta
Like
read
halfway.
Yeah, I gotta read.
So what's the premise of the movie?
I gotta read the book first.
Well, are you just
Gotta
asking?
read the book.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. So you're
Sorry,
never
I broke
gonna
you.
see
No,
it.
it got good reviews, so I probably will never see it.
It's a guy who, I mean, at one point he was straight because he's got a daughter. I think maybe his wife maybe died or something. But now he is like an online, like a college professor, but all of his classes are online. He's an English whiz, grades speeches and knows all the proper ways to write speeches and grammar and all that good jazz. But yeah, he can't stop cranking his hog to gay porno or eating Snickers. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then he
But you only
makes
made it
friends with
halfway
a
through.
Jehovah's Witness or something like that. It's a door-to-door person. And it's weird. The fact that guy hung around when you walk in on somebody pleasuring themselves to gay pornography. And let me make it clear, I'm not against gay pornography. I'm just saying maybe distance yourself if you accidentally walk in on somebody doing such an act.
But if you're a Jehovah's Witnesses are
Oh, he witnessed something.
They-
All right.
Yeah, as Jehovah as my witness, I would leave immediately.
nothing stops them. You could be like no, and they're like, just let me read
That
you
actually
this
is true. The
book."
kid keeps trying it, and I think they become buddies or whatever. And
I feel like in their manual that they get, they're like, okay, we're going to make you as uncomfortable as possible now so that no situation in the future will make you even think about secondhand embarrassment.
yeah, but the movie, I think
pastor
he
just
tries to
takes his
patch up
pants
his.
off.
He tried to patch up his relationship, like with his daughter or something. And
I saw a clip where he's like trying to walk,
Yeah,
and it's pretty tough.
All right.
yeah. So
If we'll have to. Do we know if it's streaming on anything?
yeah, I think it's on
you gotta rent
Prime
it 27
Video
times.
right now. I think you can get it on part of Prime Video if you got that. Who doesn't have that? That's actually one of my talking points. When you go like Thursday Night Football tonight, it's only on Amazon Prime Video. And you will go to a bar and they're like, "Oh no, we don't get it." It's like everybody has a Prime. Like, do one of you not have a Prime account and can't we just sign in for the night or something?
Yeah, the last bar I went to on a Thursday
I signed into my own one time.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was literally like they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll throw it on," and they pop it up, and it's like Taylor, and it's the bartenders.
And you can
Personal
see like his
account.
most recently watched.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
It's just
what
a
is
bunch
he
of gay
watching?
porn and the whale sandwiched in there. One thing,
This episode took a weird turn.
yeah.
Okay, you like weird movies. Have you ever seen Nocturnal Animals?
Is it scary? I don't do very
Yeah,
many
it's
scary
not-
movies.
No, it's not scary.
I do bad scary movies.
Don't
Like
they have the jump scare scenes in that one?
see, I
No.
don't do well with that.
So-
which is weird because the show I'm watching now, I'll tell you about it after. You need to watch it.
So it was started out as one of those like TikTok things. It was all like TikTok React, like watch the opening scene to this and record it and like your friends. And so somebody sent it to me and I was like, fine, whatever. And then it was so weird that I was like, I got to figure out what the hell the rest of this movie is about. And then I ended up watching the movie and the opening scene has like nothing to do with the rest of the movie. But it's about a guy that was inspired by his ex-wife to write a screenplay. And it kind of like breaks down of like the emotional stuff that he went through, but through movie. I think it's really well done. Some people don't like it. I think it's a good movie.
See, that just doesn't sound like something.
Well, if you think it's a
think you
good
would like
movie,
it.
then Matt
So-
won't like it.
yeah,
He only
so
likes shitty movies.
let me paint this
And
picture
Jordan, you
for
should check it out.
I will.
So, Wrong Turn 2. They're in the hills of West Virginia.
Why not Wrong Turn 1 though?
I'd like to go to 2. It's way worse and has Nick Cannon in it. So,
Yeah.
Do you always start with the sequel?
no, I watched the first one.
You know how many
okay.
wrong turns there are?
There's like 7.
yeah. You know,
It's
you
like
have endless
Sharknado.
options.
Yeah, there's one where they bury a guy in a soccer field and run him over with a wood chipper. I think that's 4.
Okay, so Wrong Turn 2.
I don't know what I was going. Oh yeah, I think Wrong Turn 2. They're in like the mountains or something. I'm getting that. What's another one it's Wrong Turn, and then there's one that's like another one that's pretty similar to it.
The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, I hated that movie.
I think The Hills Have Eyes 2 has Nick Cannon in it. I don't know,
Nick Cannon and is in some sort of shitty horror film.
He's also in this zombie movie that I watched that was pretty good, and essentially the whole movie boils down to him tying a dull knife to an end of a stick, and that somehow becomes like more useful than a fully automatic machine gun. So
I mean, it won't run out of ammo.
I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Well, shit, man. What else we got? Should we wrap up the show? I feel really good about it.
I feel good.
Was there anything else you want to get off your chest while we're here? While you have a microphone in front of you?
Why have a microphone in front of me?
Matt, stop.
You were doing that earlier, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill someone.
Other than yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, that is one thing.
Murder, suicide minus the murder.
That the comics, like, don't know if I was ever ready for the amount of suicide jokes, and I was like, wow, these guys are all fucking depressed as shit. Like,
I think it's
I'm
a nervous
happiest when
tick.
I'm sad.
I think people just get nervous, and it's just easy to resort to the KYSing. So.
It's really easy. I think I always fall back to just making fun of myself because it's so easy. It's just right there.
Yeah, and you're easy to make fun of. Easy target.
Yep.
though, you know, one thing I did notice last night is the amount of comics that have, and I'm only assuming it's the iPhone Mini 13 and it's red. There's at least 3 of us that have it, which I found oddly interesting because I'm like, that's kind of a
Yay.
kind of an odd, yeah, sure, yeah.
I have a white 12 Pro Max, so
A Samsung Razor.
yeah.
You have a Razor,
No.
like the old flip one, the old, like old one.
He's got a razor. It's
I've only had like
next to his bathtub.
Yeah. 13 reasons why. I only needed one reason. I just don't like living. Okie dokie then.
Anywho, I got a question for you, Jordan. So you asked me what I thought of when I came to see comics. What did you think of like my first set, or like when I came on and did comedy? What was your first impression?
I was like, well, we need to make fun of him for his like electronic notepad thingy you got going. It's actually pretty sweet. But
Yeah, and I was gonna make fun of it right away, and then you showed it to me, and I was like, I kind of want one, but then they're really expensive, and I was like, I drink too much to afford that. I would break it immediately.
Oh, that is a legit fear. It got wet one time, and I was like, "Fuck me."
I guess it's hard for me to remember exactly what I thought the first time, because I've seen a lot of different comedians come through. Hosting is a lot of moving parts. But what I have noticed is, you're definitely making an effort to come back and work on your jokes. And like as comedians, when we hear each other kind of repeat jokes, obviously it like loses its luster with us just because, you've heard it before. But I like to see people who do like the same jokes, but they build on it, or they say it better or with a different tone. So yeah, I think you're making some really good progress, and it's not easy to get on stage. I mean, I personally have no issue getting in front of a crowd, but
You make it look easy some days, especially you handle a crowd very well.
thank you. I try my best to have a good time, and honestly, at the end of the day, what helps is I just realized like nothing fucking matters. Like at the end of the day, it's like, who gives a shit? Like you either like the joke or you don't. I think comedians can be really hard on themselves, but it's like, dude, I think people just appreciate you going up there and trying it at least, because that's what they're there for. They're there to entertain. A comedian's job is to not necessarily make people laugh, but it's to entertain. And that's what we try to do. Try to have a good time, stay loose, have fun. And just have a fun time with it and just be a goofball, at the end of the day. Because like Matt and I'm surprised it took us so long to get into stand-up comedy, because he was the voted class clown in high school, and I was pretty upset about that.
Jordan got class alcoholic. So.
Yeah. Well, 5 minors
Yeah,
do that.
broke the St. Mary's Central High School record for most minors, so that was cool.
It was consuming.
Yeah.
As a minor, and the cops were aware of it 5 times. Actually, should have been more.
Yeah.
One time in high school, I had a huge party at my house, and the cops got called.
If you could find that voicemail,
Oh,
I would
man.
cry.
Dude, my parents were out of town, and I didn't have like my siblings babysitting me or whatever. I mean, I was in high school, but this particular time, I didn't have anybody there.
How many minors were you at this point of this party?
Probably 2.
Okay, so is this the story of number 3?
No, it could have been, but no. Dude, I had probably 75 people packed into my parents' house, just a rager.
And when everyone drives a single car there, when
Yeah.
there's 70 cars on resident,
The street was just lined with cars. Pretty obvious which house was having the party. The cops were at the back door on the patio, which, looking back on it, it's like, you fuckers, you can't be in my backyard.
Yeah.
This is private property, first of all. And that's probably why they let me off, because they're like, oh, we
They're like, oh, we shouldn't have jumped that fence.
Well, there's no fence, but still, it's
Yeah.
like they came to the back door. Once they were there, I gave up. I was like, we're not going to get through this. I'm just going to go talk to them. Anyway, I talked to them. They let everybody go. I had a shitload of beer left over, so that was awesome. But they
They let you keep the beer, huh?
Well, they didn't come. They couldn't come inside. I wasn't
I
letting
suppose,
them come
yeah.
inside.
You're like, no, you can't come back.
Well, they're like, make sure everybody leaves. Nobody, if they're drinking, I don't want anybody driving. I'm like, I can do that for you. You know, let's be reasonable. You know, let's be
Fair.
humans at the end of the day. But they called my parents, and my parents were on a flight from Hawaii to Vegas, so it went to voicemail. And when they landed in Vegas, they got a voicemail where it went something along the lines of, you know, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Weichel. This is, you know, Officer Numbnuts with the Bismarck Police Department. You know, we got a call of a party going on at your house, and, you know, we talked to Jordan, and he was very cooperative, yet highly intoxicated. I was like, well, he's not wrong. So, yeah, that was weird walking around my house, finding people like in closets and shit. It's like, you could come out now. They left.
It'd be funny, like 2 days later, you go to put a shirt on and open a closet and someone's still there.
Or sometimes being like really wasted and passed out drunk can actually save you. Because I was at one time when I did get a minor, we were out camping, and all of us got minors except for the one chick who was so fucking drunk she was in the tent, passed out already, and we forgot about her and we didn't look for her. And so I was like, well, I guess.
Maybe now you'll agree. Drinking has its benefits.
Oh, I love Chris Farley.
Yeah, we have a lot of Chris Farley clips, Will Ferrell, all sorts of people. But
I used to actually not like Will Ferrell.
Really?
For the longest time, I didn't watch a lot of his movies. I liked him when he was younger, like on SNL with like his Night of the Roxbury skits and everything.
Yes.
But it was maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I finally watched Step Brothers for the first time.
Really?
Hilarious movie. I missed out on so much.
Step Brothers, that was like right in the sweet spot of like Step Brothers, Semi-Pro, Talladega Nights. You rewatch any of those movies and you pick up new lines all the time.
Every time.
Like Talladega Nights, we always do the one where like, if we don't get a car on that track, our sponsors are literally going to shit chicken. He's like, oh, I see Terry. He's having a chicken sandwich. And then one of the guys is like, I hear that place makes a good sauce.
Yeah. He's like eating a chicken sandwich. He's like, I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to make a phone call. Then I'll be back. In middle of a NASCAR race.
Or Glenn on their pit crews, just like, let's look at the bright side. 1, we tried hard. 2, we're still dear friends. And then the huge black guy from the Green Mile's just like, shut up, Glenn.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Or when they pretend to motivate Ricky Bobby by telling him that Glenn's dead, but Glenn's looking around the corner.
Yeah.
Gator don't play no shit.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too. Trevor,
I think that's all I got.
are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied. This is good.
All right, well, this is episode 221. Do you want to plug the info for Patriot Nutrition? Where are we located? What can people do to come check you
We're
out?
at 2941 North 11th Street, right in between Red Carpet Car Wash and Dan's Supermarket. Well, I guess Family Fair now. And across the street from Century High School.
Corporate America.
Sorry that your PO knows now. Might be within 1,000 feet.
I was never here. I remoted in.
Yeah, you remoted, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on your overheating phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is a blast. Thank you for having us to your shop. Thank you for the free tea. Well, at least I haven't seen an invoice yet. So.
Not yet. No.
Okay, but Matt. Upcoming shows Thursday, October 17th. Matt, myself, 2 other comedians will be at Laughing Sun Brewery here in Bismarck. Doors 7, show 8. Come check it out. Come support local comedy. Friday, November 15th, we're up in Minot at the Drop Zone. So check out details on that. Saturday, January 25th. It's a ways out, but I want you to put it on your calendar now because that'll be our biggest show yet. Saturday, January 25th. We're flying in Tommy Brennan. We're flying in Aiden McCluskey. They've been on the podcast before. We're taking over the Bell Mayhews Auditorium. It seats over 800 people. We're going to have a good time. Probably lose a lot of money, but it's going to be a great time. I can't wait for it.
Goes for a good cause. My wallet.
Matt's drinking problem. Speaking of Matt, how can our listeners get more involved? Say they want to check us out, all the details, be entertained by us beyond the audio recording.
Yeah, basically you could follow us on social media. That's every social media you can think of. We are on it. Just search No Brains, No Headache. Or if you want to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, we had a new one. Some Russian dude gave us a review. So shout out to that guy, Volochenko.
Yeah, he's not very happy with us.
That's some pretty testy things. Or you can go on Spotify, on your app. All you have to do is open up, search it, go it on, click 5 stars, click 1 star.
Follow us. Make sure you stay up to date. New episodes every Tuesday. Up next is episode 222, Wild. And we will be at Laughing Sun Brewery with our headliner, Kyle Huber. So that will be week 2 of the road show. So thank you once again, Trevor, for letting us be here and getting the road show started off right. And with that, that's our episode. Thank you so much for listening.
You break your penis, they only fix vagina.
Why do I want this?
Yeah.
Because I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.